What's up, everybody? What's up? 99 days until LSU kicks off versus Florida State in Orlando. It's me. It's Sage. We're in the house. Rivers is next to me. Chelsea will probably be home in just a little bit, and we can get more down to business, hopefully without some craziness from Sage, but we're going to try and do the show as much as we can. There he is. What's up, buddy? What's up? Want to see everybody? Want to talk to everybody? 99 days until LSU kick off against Florida State, my little guy. 99 days. 99 days until LSU kick off against Florida State. And, there's some interesting storylines with the program. For instance, Brian Kelly is killing it in recruiting. He has built the fence around Louisiana that so many former coaches, former scouts, analysts have said LSU always had to build or had built, and would always kind of say LSU, they just need to build that fence around the state of Louisiana, and everything will be okay if they can keep Louisiana talents in the state. They'll win championships. Well, in the 21st century, with first beginning with Nick Saban, out of the ashes of the Jerry DiNardo era, that becomes a big thing for LSU. We finally start keeping the guys who were going to Miami, going to Florida State. That's why this kind of game is this game is Florida State's a little personal for some of us who have been into LSU since late 90s, early 21st century, because we were seeing these guys go to those type of teams, those Florida-based teams and stuff like that. So, for me, this whole thing, got to get him a bottle real quick as well. This whole thing with LSU, Florida State, 99 days until the rematch. It's interesting because that game last year, it showed us a lot about the team we would see in 2022, but also at the same time, there was a lot of things missing from that game that LSU improved on as the season went on. Obviously, the special teams never improved. Obviously, that was a large, gaping, glaring, obvious, red flag, but LSU never figured it out, never dealt with it properly. We get that. But you've seen the Tigers fight, battle, dig in their heels, and have these crazy comebacks in these games last season. We've been sickos. We've been going through each game and rewatching it. And it all begins with the fight and the mentality shown there in that late fourth quarter, early second half. I actually, let's go back even before the first end of the first half. There's a point where LSU are about to go down bad. I can't remember what it was going to be, probably like 24 to 3 or something like that at the time. And Sage Ryan makes a brilliant pass breakup in the end zone. Jordan Travis throws a perfect pass. The receiver probably should have caught this football, could not reel it in. Sage Ryan makes the play, turnover on downs. They went for it on 4th and 1 instead of taking the field goal. Huge play in the game right before half, kind of gave us some life, gave us something to, okay, we made a stop. All right. Going into the second half, everything was going LSU's way until these turnovers, these fumbles by Malik Neighbors on the kickoffs and the punt returns. Just absolute madness, as you all well know. And then LSU once again show their mettle, show they've got the minerals, show they've got the coaching staff to make the adjustments, especially in the defensive backfield. Robert Steeples, Kerry Cook showing that they can elevate their units, their players, absolute expertise there. And LSU were able to make these comebacks, able to swing it around despite these crazy turnovers on special teams, despite these crazy double-digit deficits, despite the staff being held together. I mean, not the staff, the roster being held together with duct tape and Cheetos. You literally had transfers coming in to plug holes, emergency type players who then became, pillars of the program very quickly. Mekhi Wingo, outside of us, I don't really think, I hate to toot my own horn, but I think Mekhi Wingo would even tell you that. Actually, I know Mekhi Wingo would tell you that we were one of the first to really be on his bandwagon as a Tiger. I mean, he was an all-SEC freshman. It's kind of an easy pick. He's obviously going to be successful here, but how many people, including us, thought he would be able to start almost every game, play as many snaps as he was able to in 2022? Not many. I'll go on the record and say, I didn't expect him to play that much either. I expected him to maybe steal a starting job or something from Jaquelin Roy. If Jaquelin Roy's injuries were keeping him from playing to his optimum. But there's no way you could keep Jaquelin Roy off the field, and there's no way you can keep Mason Smith off the field. And so something had to give there, and Mason Smith's crazy injury, freak injury in that Florida State game, in that Week 1 game, against that team we'll be playing against in Camping World Stadium 99 days from today, he tore his ACL. Celebrating a play, I think it was 4 or 5, maybe 6 snaps into the game. He's already been hugely effective up front, stuffing plays, forcing stuff wide, absolutely owning the interior. Hey, buddy, what's up? Here's your baba. He's trying to climb me. What's up? What's up, buddy? Trying to climb me. You're okay. You're okay. 1 second. He basically tipped over, but just to the point where he basically fell, but really just kind of sat on his butt, kind of just toppling back, falling on his butt. Made him get a little upset there. But yeah, just like how LSU were able to fight back in some of these games at Florida State, lose some of these players to big time injuries, constantly come back against teams, facing double digits as well, double-digit deficits. It showed a tantalizing preview of what's to come in the Brian Kelly era at LSU. Let's hope we see more of that. But at the same time, let's hope we see a team that isn't constantly up against the wall. We love to see the comebacks. We love to see the character, the fight, but let's hope for a team that's more polished, more disciplined, and more ready for games, to the point where we don't have to do this type of stuff, where we don't have to come back, make these crazy comebacks late in games, make these crazy double-digit deficit comebacks. I mean, I've had enough of it. It's been absolutely crazy. It was a wild ride in 2022. Here, buddy. He's being a little nuts. My God, what a shit show. What can I do? What can I do? I mean, like, it's just, yeah, what a shit show. But that's what happens when you're a new parent. Things become absolutely just down the toilet. Huh, buddy, you just go crazy. Second I turn on a computer, huh? He's always trying to grab this damn thing. Um, the thing is, though, with LSU going into this season, is this a team that's more disciplined than 2022, where we're not going to be facing these crazy deficits? We're not going to be having these abominable special teams errors, where we're not going to be having these calamitous errors that put us up against it. Will Jaden Daniels be able to hit these reads? That's the thing that a lot of people are wondering. Is Jaden Daniels going to take that next step passing the football? Is Jaden Daniels going to elevate his game as a passer to go to that next level that LSU absolutely needs to win a national championship? With this level of receiving talent around him, tight ends around him, a fantastic running back core to lean on. Even if some of these guys don't come back, like John Emery Jr., maybe Armani Goodwin transfers, which I'm hearing whispers that could be a possibility. We still don't know the extent of what's going to happen with John Emery Jr.'s future, as much as we posted something about being told a source close to John that was telling us that things were going to be okay. He was going to be back with LSU in time for fall camp and stuff like that. But we've heard that everything was going to be okay with his academics before. We heard that everything would be fine before. And so I'm a little skeptical until we see him wearing purple and gold and Brian Kelly telling us like he's back on the squad and he's out there doing drills. Like until I see that, I'm just not sure. And so there's a lot of question marks across the board with this team, where there's absolute fantastic proven talent. A guy like John Emery Jr. was huge in games last season. Excited, buddy? Excited for LSU in 99 days, huh? Like John Emery Jr. scored the first touchdown against Alabama. John Emery Jr. scored the big touchdowns against Florida. John Emery Jr. was the difference maker against Auburn. I swear John Emery Jr. was a difference maker in most of these games. Let's go back and look at the stats here. I swear he was the only LSU Tiger to score a touchdown against Arkansas as well. Could have that wrong. Let me look that up. I just watched it yesterday. He scores the touchdown against Alabama. First touchdown of that game in the second quarter, I believe. Just crazy. And he did it through the air as well. He had, I think it was a pair of touchdown catches. Yeah. He had a touchdown catch against Florida and Alabama, which I swear to God were both the first touchdowns of that game for LSU. Got us in ultimate rhythm. Yep. Scored a rushing touchdown against Auburn. Just like I said, 8 for 42, 5.3 against Auburn. One catch for 39 yards against Auburn. We remember that took us down to the goal line. I swear to God, Jaden Daniels scored from that as well. He's shown well against A&M, our worst game of the season. 9 carries for 55 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. 3 rushing touchdowns for John Emery. That was a career high in that game. Scored against Purdue, of course. His yards weren't really impressive. 375, 76 carries, 4.9 is his average has always been impressive. 6 touchdowns, though, 2 receiving touchdowns, 13 catches, 129, 9.9 per catch. I mean, he also even had a tackle, I think, defending an interception or something like that against Tennessee. John Emery Jr. would be just think about how his position was last year. He wasn't really the battering ram for the rushing attack. That was more Josh Williams. He wasn't really the workhorse for the rushing attack. That was more Noah Cain or Armani Goodwin earlier in the year. He was more the luxury guy. He was more the guy that was like, we know we can use him to change games if we just press that button. If we just press that button, give him the football, he can change games. So John Irma Jr., his future to me is very intriguing for this team. We got to have all hands on deck because this roster, bless you, buddy, bless you. This roster is empirical. When you look across the board, there's so many times I'm thinking like, oh, LSU, we're a little thin here. Oh, LSU, maybe we're a little, I'm not liking our depth in this position or that position. I'm worried about this or that. I forget, oh yes, we have that guy coming in. Oh yeah, we have this dude who's out, just a little bit banged up, but he'll be 100% for summer conditioning. Like for instance, I forgot about, safety position that we had freshman Kylan Jackson coming in. I'm going through the names and I'm like, oh yes, we have Kylan Jackson coming in. A dude who probably would be starting for multiple top SEC programs this fall, and for LSU might not even get a single snap, and that wouldn't be shocking to too many people. As you can see, the wounds from my recent dental work. Yes, it's been a little brutal, been very painful, but I feel like $1 million for the first time in like probably like a week, and so yeah, we're doing this. We couldn't do it yesterday. We're still going to do another surgery here coming up, and so it's that will suck. But yeah, things moving in the right direction. We hope with some of this stuff. We just have to wait and see, and so we're just trying to just keep putting our foot forward here and just keep living and try and just put this together and try and just keep kicking ass and taking names on the LSU front. Try and deliver the best LSU content to you because that's what it's all about. And talking about this 2023 team, I mean, you go through the roster just like I was saying. You go, oh, maybe we're thin at defensive line. Then you forget about, oh yeah, Deshaun Womack is there, about to come back. You got Mekhi Wingo, Jacobian Guillory, Mason Smith through the middle, Paris Shand through the middle, Quincy Wiggins also used as the interior core 3. And then Jack linebacker, Savion Jones is someone who could be an absolute home wrecker this season. Absolute freight train of hate pain, Savion Jones. I think he had 3.5 sacks last year in limited reps, and even I think it was a forced fumble. Yeah, he had a forced fumble on one of those strip sack plays that he had coming off the bench. Fantastic from Savion Jones, and he's always shown that he can be a very productive defensive lineman. At St. James, he was like one of the most productive defensive linemen I'd seen in a while. Just the way he pounded out the tackles. Pounded out the tackles for loss. I mean, let's look at his high school numbers. I know we got it somewhere on the site. I think it's probably with our Savion Jones profile with Coach Robert Valdez because we knew he was going to be good, and we could not wait for him to come to LSU. And his first year, not really much of anything. He didn't really get much of any like reps or, a snap here or there, whatever. But not really much of anything. His second season, he kind of had to earn it. But when he played, he was electric. And so it's like maybe that kind of old-fashioned LSU story of a dude who's really, really had to kind of like work his way up, like season by season. Savion Jones, that's someone who I feel like he's due for an awesome season. And, when LSU has such an interior blood decorator crew there, where you got guys like Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith. I mean, that's nasty. That's absolutely nasty. Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Jacobian Gillian behind them. That trio, that power trio, could absolutely run the SEC ragged this season. I love it. I love it. I want some more of it. And I cannot wait to see those two healthy, playing, just going full out, busting people in the ass, absolutely dominating the line of scrimmage. That's what we want to see. And those guys absolutely occupying and destroying up front, that's going to unleash the athleticism from guys like Savion Jones, who his junior and senior year combined, he had 159 total tackles. 119 of those tackles were solo. So only 40 assisted tackles out of 159. 20 sacks, 47 tackles for loss, 29 during that championship season in 2019 for them. 42 pressures, 25 in 2019 alone. 3 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recovers, 2 fumble recovery touchdown returns, 1 pick, 9 pass breakups, 3 safeties earned, 2 block punts. I mean, like, you can't really get more productive than that. I mean, it's just crazy what he did at St. James. And then you go and you look at what he's done with very limited reps at LSU this season, and you really love what you see. You really love what you see from him. Pressures he's added, 4.5 sacks last season. That's what it was. 4.5 sacks, not 3.5. Give him his due. 4.5 sacks last year. Only saw action in 11 games as a true freshman. 3 tackles, But this last year, 1 pass broken up, 4.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 23 total tackles, 1 forced fumble. That play where he just absolutely destroys that dude coming off that blitz off the edge. Like, I mean, man alive. What they can do with Savion Jones and get creative with him, I mean, that could be very interesting. Then you got on the other side dudes like Jackson Howard. Sorry, my son was trying to eat a popcorn kernel. You've got Jackson Howard, who's a freshman I think could be electric. And he's probably not going to get much playing time, buried on a depth chart, but, Ovi Agufa will probably be the guy that's going to start, you would think, on the other side of Savion, opposite Savion. But if not, Jackson Howard's going to get some reps in there. Deshaun Womack is absolutely going to get some reps. I think he could get some reps on the interior 3 or at Jack, either way. Prince Malbrew is really productive and really interesting as a walk-on from LCA. I believe he earned his scholarship. I'm not 100% sure on that. We talk to him quite frequently. We should ask him that question. Sage, bashing your cup. AD says this is going to be an exciting season. That's the thing, man. It's like people are wondering, is LSU going to regress? And are people going to wake up to, like, LSU fans, are we going to wake up to this honeymoon under Kelly that, like, hey, now you come back down to earth. Last year was kind of a fluke. Jaden Daniels, he hit all the tricks. No one knew how to handle him that first season. And your defense got lucky in parts. You got really lucky coming back in these games, and that teams would get complacent, and whatever you want to argue to say LSU had a fluky season, they're going to argue it, and they're going to argue it and say LSU are going to regress in 2023. And you look at the schedule. I mean, LSU has every chance to have a bad season, at least a bad opening to the season, in my opinion. Like there's opportunities for LSU to lose. I mean, you look at the Florida State game last season. No one thought LSU were going to lose that game. Like no LSU fan was really like considering we're going to lose this game. Jordan Travis is going to kill us. Like Jordan Travis is going to burn us alive. Like, and that's why you've got to really take the opponent completely at face value, really, really get into what they're doing, see what their offense is predicated on, see how good their defense is, look into the health of the offensive line, the experience of the offensive line, the talent of the offensive line. These important pillars of team football and winning football, and you actually base your judgments of how a team's going to do throughout the season on that instead of hype, what they've done before, yada, yada, yada. Get the film out, go through there, go into the trenches. And sometimes past film isn't going to show us what's going to happen in the future, obviously. But it's always the best indicator of what could be around that bend. For LSU in 2023, I think you've got a lot of possibility because here's the thing. LSU lose a game early in the season, it's not going to be the end of the season whatsoever because here's the thing. Alabama, I really think are in for a shocking year here. I think Alabama are going to lose another 2 games in the regular season this go around. I'm looking at their team and I'm like, where's the quarterback leadership that we've seen from Alabama that saved that porous defense for the last few years? It's almost like they are incapable of coaching good defense anymore at Alabama. They're relying on stars to make huge plays. They're relying on just individual skill to take them over the top, and they've been doing that since 2015. They've been doing that for quite a long time, winning championships, losing championships with that style of football, kind of a faceless, merciless, mercenary kind of thing. And it hasn't really done Saban too many. I mean, yeah, he's still won championships. Not even close to at the dominance that he should. Not even close. And that's the thing is there a chance in 2023, Jalen Milroe, their quarterback, a defense that's going to probably have Kool-Aid McKinstry and little else? What can LSU do to expose Alabama this season? What can the rest of the SEC do to expose Alabama this season and really set something up for the future? Because Pete Golding, he wasn't the best defensive coordinator, but he was someone that Saban trusted and relied on. That's another guy out the door. And now another guy hunting Nick Saban and improving an SEC West opponent, Ole Miss, who've notoriously had a shitty defense. So if Pete Golding can at least just improve that defense, which I believe, as long as he's not getting nonstop DUIs, he definitely can. Then, especially from what they've been, and they haven't been terrible. They've been great in some spots. Defensive line, they've been pretty good at defensive line as well. Linebackers sometimes, but back end terrible. And so if Ole Miss can improve as well, that's just another person, another team, another program hunting Alabama. And that's the thing. This season is going to be all about everybody hunting each other, trying to pick each other off. But really, there's only a few favorites here. There's, of course, Georgia. Everyone's always just going to put Georgia in there automatically. 2-time national championship winning program. When are they going to lose? Is it going to be now with the absence of Stetson Bennett? Are they now going to succumb and suffer and relinquish their grip on the national championship trophy? People are wondering if this is the time for Ole Miss. Jackson Dart, second year as a starter. But here's the thing for me: Texas A&M, Max Johnson. Big time word about former LSU quarterback Max Johnson taking over that starting job at Texas A&M. And so LSU are not going to be alone in this crazy SEC fight. LSU are going every Saturday is going to be a dogfight. Every Saturday is going to be a war. One second, let me get the little guy. Seiji, want to say hi to everybody? We're going to talk about how 2023 LSU is going to be a dogfight every game. Kirk Herbstreit's going to have to change his pants at halftime. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I really do believe that this season it's just going to be 1 week. Everyone thinks this is the team, and then they get their ass kicked and get humbled. And then everyone kind of goes, okay, wow, let's come back down to earth. Let's kind of reconfigure where the season's going, where this is going to go. Like who's going to, we kind of find out who's the pretender, who's the real legit contenders. And I think it's going to be a crazy season. But when you look at LSU's schedule, there's every opportunity for LSU to have an incredible year. Because if you look at it, it's very strange schedule. We get Arkansas early this season, okay? And if I'm not mistaken, Arkansas, we play them September 23rd at home, Death Valley, okay? They have to play BYU a week before that and face Texas A&M the week after that. They have once again kind of screwed themselves with scheduling here. I mean, they're playing at LSU, at Ole Miss, at Alabama, at Florida. They finished the season Auburn, FIU, Missouri. So Arkansas, once again, do not help themselves out with the schedule. Sure, some of those should be wins, BYU, FIU. But here's the thing: it's Arkansas have been anything but predictable here this year. Auburn, their schedule, open up with some gimmies. UMass. The Cal game is going to be interesting, though. At Cal, that could be a game they could get upset there. Do not sleep on that. Samford, interesting there. At Texas A&M. Then they play Georgia. Then they get the bye at LSU. We get Auburn at home October 14th. Then they have to go at Arkansas, finish the season at home against Alabama. So, more favorable schedule there for Auburn, but still at A&M, at LSU, Georgia. You got to think Auburn going to pick up some losses this season as well. Home against Alabama, too. Iron Bowl. I don't know really what that could do. I don't really know if they could pull off the win there. We're really not even sure what type of team Hugh Freeze is going to have on hand for us to watch when this regular season begins. I mean, there's a lot of drama coming out of Auburn. So, talking about all these teams, these other teams, you go through the list and you got to come to your senses and kind of think. LSU shouldn't be crazy that LSU are favorites, right? It should not be crazy that LSU are SEC West favorites. Open the season versus Florida State, Camping World Stadium. I'll also say it at Florida State. Okay, it's a neutral site, but it's basically in Florida. I'll just say at Florida State. Okay, de facto road game. 6:30 p.m. 90. Oh wow, just a day off of almost a year to the day of the first game, the first installment of LSU Florida State in the Superdome. So we get Florida State. Then we got Grambling State at home. Okay. But tricky game like it was last season and the season before that as well. And actually in 2019. So wow. Mississippi State has actually been a very troubling game since 2019. 2020 they beat us. 2019 it was one of the weirder games for LSU to navigate along with the Auburn game. That was the game I believe where Joe got his pants pulled down in Mississippi State. And so Mississippi State had to come back from behind double digits against them, 13 points, down 13 against them last season, I believe it was. And so, we always seem to do, we seem to really run into a wall against Mississippi State when it comes to scoring a lot of points. I don't know why that is. It always seems like they can keep us under like 30 points, it seems, Mississippi State. It's very strange. And if they do allow us to score over 30 points, it's like 31, 33, something like that. So that's a game, that's going to be in Starkville. That's another game where it's just like, ooh, like that's going to be popcorn. It's going to be a popcorn game. Arkansas at home, September 23rd, like we said, that's going to be a very important game for the season. Very important because say if LSU actually, lose against Mississippi State or Florida State, that Arkansas game becomes like everything on the line, obviously, there. At Ole Miss, at Missouri. That was Sage farting. Auburn on the October 14th at home. Army on the 21st at home. Then we get the bye. November 4th at Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium. We've done pretty well at Alabama the last few times we've been there. 2021, we should have won that game. If Max Johnson throws a few more accurate passes, we win that game. Jack Besh is wide open multiple times, 4 touchdowns. We win that game if we make some catches, make some completed throws. It's very crazy when you go back and watch that. Our defense played an incredibly heroic game that game. It was unbelievable. Bryce Young is haunted by LSU the last 2 years. My God. And then you got 2019, obviously, where we won the game, the real game of the century, where even the freaking president of the United States was there. Everybody, including the freaking president. It was nuts. That was the real game of the century. The 46-41 LSU win, where Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jamar Chase, K'Lavon Chaisson had a hell of a game that game as well. Braden Fehoko actually was the one who injured his buddy Tagovailoa. He forces him wide his ankle and kind of gives him a little shove, which makes him turn on his ankle. Keeps forcing him wide. A great game plan by Dave Aranda in that game to keep Tua Tagovailoa, whose ankle was a little messed up, keep him on the move, keep him running. Like at the risk of giving up chunks of yards, wear the quarterback down, make him run. Dave Aranda, man, love that guy. So went down a huge rabbit hole there. But if you're an LSU fan, I guess that's what we do. At Alabama, November 4th. Can Brian Kelly, will Brian Kelly beat Nick Saban again? That's the question I want to ask you. Will Brian Kelly beat Nick Saban for a second season in a row? Because if he does, I mean, if Brian Kelly beats Nick Saban, hey Sage, if Brian Kelly beats Nick Saban for a second year in a row, then he is literally living rent free in this dude's head. Like if Brian Kelly can beat Nick Saban for a second season in a row after the way LSU were able to beat Alabama last season, then he's just like, what? Who is this Brian? Who is this Irish Tiger dude who just came out of nowhere and is now absolutely dominating in this league and is now kicking my ass for the second season in a row? Who is he? Who is this guy? Will Brian Kelly beat Nick Saban for a second season in a row? Because here's the thing. You beat Nick Saban like that. That's like that's okay. When Alabama suffered that 2013 loss that knocked them not only out of the SEC title game, but out of the national championship game when their short field goal was returned for a touchdown. I mean, that's just like Saban's just like, okay, well, some things you can't control, blah, 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 blah. When you lose by a 2-point conversion from Brian Kelly in overtime in such a ruthless, hilarious, purposeful, intense fashion, someone who wants to come after you and take your crown like that, like that's something you can't get out of your head. That's something you can't forget. So here's the thing. If Nick Saban's able to really kind of equalize that and LSU suffer a defeat at Alabama this season, that could be that could be rough because that could empower the crap out of Saban. That could really empower Saban to be like, okay, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, to quote The Who. Saban kind of reestablishes himself. I mean, I don't really think Saban's, losing his complete mind and he's going to be a total, terrible coach from now on and Alabama aren't going to win another title. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this season, I really don't like Alabama's roster. I didn't like Alabama's roster last year. And I told everyone from Matt Moscona to A.D. Perkins, who you just saw comment earlier, to every one of you who read my articles or watch my things, I told you, I did not like Alabama going into 2022. Whatever you thought of LSU, fine. I did not like Alabama coming into 2022. I also picked LSU to win 10 games, which they did. But I did not like Alabama's roster coming in 2022 because I saw Bryce Young and nobody else. Gibbs, some talented receivers who are too busy, attacking women with cell phones and things like that to really have an effect on a game. Eli Ricks, who left LSU to win a championship, only to watch LSU literally win an SEC West title over him, and then to watch him lose a national title at Alabama as well. It's kind of gratifying. And so there's a lot of psychological intensity going on when you're talking about Saban, Kelly, Saban. There's a lot of when they talk, they have the utmost respect for each other, but they just love stick that knife in. They want to beat each other bad. They want to beat each other's brains in bad. They want to, Saban wanted to take him and put him over his knee and give him a spanking, teach him a lesson about what the SEC is all about. I'm going to give you a learning too, give you want to wallop you, Brian Kelly, tell you what the SEC is all about, But instead, it's okay. No, you can't take that. I know you want to play with the amoxicillin. You can't. Instead, Kelly literally beats Saban in the most I mean, I don't know how else you can describe it, but the most satisfying way possible to beat Nick Saban. There's no other way to beat Nick Saban than beating him by two right now. You have to always beat Nick Saban by a 2-point conversion from here on out. Just to rub it in, right? What's up, everybody? He's going nuts again. You'd think I'm a goddamn single parent at this point watching this stuff. I mean, it's just how much I'm having to watch him. It's pretty insane. Um, we're going to try and find more time where we're not having to watch this little Goomba to do this. Because sometimes it is, you don't come to watch him. And I feel sorry for that. But, it's, what can I do? Got to watch my little guy sometimes, a lot of times. If I'm not working, I'm either watching him or working at the same. But yeah, that's just what we have to do, and it's just kind of one of those things for the time being. So thank you for all being patient with me. I'm sorry about that, but I mean, at least he's cute, the little destroyer. Another question I had for all of you: what is LSU's biggest weakness in 2023? What is LSU's Achilles heel in 2023? I mean, someone would probably say depth, depth at certain spots, right? Someone would probably say offensive line, this, that, Jaden Daniels passing, people always like to throw that up, but I don't think really any of those things could be it. I feel like depth is pretty much solid across the board except for offensive line. Offensive line is where I'm worried the most with when it comes to depth. I mean, if you're not worried about the depth at offensive line, you're just not paying attention. The depth at safety, proven depth at safety, I should say. There's a lot of guys there who can compete. There's a lot of guys there who could play, but not a lot of proven commodities outside of Burns and Brooks Jr. And so you're going to find out very quickly this season what LSU is going to be made of in 2023, what these freshmen are going to be able to be made of in 2023. And I feel here's the thing. From judging from the spring game, judging from their performances throughout spring, their ability to adapt to the ratcheted expectations, the more intense, rigorous training, practicing, expectations just of going to school at LSU in comparison to high school, the way that those guys have adapted to it, I have a lot of good vibes when it comes to guys like Jackson Howard, Javian Tobiano, Ryan Yates, Jeremiah Hughes, the Mac Markway, Jackson McGowan, Kamorion Pimpton. Pimpton might be a pillar of the offense at some point this season if injuries keep Mason Taylor out. Pimpton could be a huge target. I mean, hell, the way LSU's offense is run right now, you might see Taylor and Pimpton out there together, which could actually be an extremely devastating offensive setup for the Tigers. 12 personnel, usually what you're going to see with LSU, double tight end formations. With the unbelievable receiving core that we've got, though, I think you'll see a lot more down the field throwing of the football this season. I think you're going to see a more dynamic offense just because, A, Daniels is going to be able to throw it. He's going to actually be able to run it. They're actually more familiar with each other. Denbrock, Daniels, Dean Petzing, the quarterback whisperer behind the scenes that no one knows about. Joe Sloan, of course, quarterback's coach. And then, with these receivers who dropped a record like 21 passes of Jaden Daniels this last season. I mean, people want to blame Jaden Daniels, and I get it. I've been watching the games, okay? I've been watching the games. I know. And I was critical of Daniels last season as well. There were certainly games where Daniels absolutely missed wide open guys, just blatantly missed wide open dudes. And it was like just out of sheer hesitancy to throw the football, and I'm just going to run instead. And it was crazy at times, literally looking away from touchdowns. But my God, there's also times that his hesitancy to throw the football saved LSU's ass, and there's times his legs won us games. I mean, there's times that these receivers had the football right in their hands for touchdowns, and they just dropped them. I can count 2 booty touchdowns that he would have had. And I understand that Booty was criminally not targeted, criminally untargeted this last season. But there was some underlying reasons as to why. I mean, there just wasn't the trust that the media was trying to push. Everyone was trying to push that, these two love each other. Maybe off the field, Kayshawn and Jaden did. But on the field, it was well known that Kayshawn wanted Garrett Nussmeier to start. I mean, he literally said as much before the season. And so there was always going to be that you don't really vibe with me as much as maybe a guy like Malik Neighbors does. So I might not trust you as much, especially when you're dropping the football every damn time I throw it to you. And Daniels put it right in his fucking fingertips in week 1 against Florida State, and he could not pull it in for the touchdown. And then to kind of go on the other side of that, Daniels almost throws Booty into like a broken neck type hit. An absolute ridiculous throw. Throwing Booty right into a safety who's almost coming to take his head off. Like almost throwing Booty into a decapitation. So there was some plays by Daniels last year that were just inexplicably bad. You can't explain it away as much as you might think he's the best for LSU, etc. On the other hand, he was clearly the best option for LSU in 2022 and is clearly already, obviously, the best option for LSU in 2023, in my opinion, because what I have seen from Daniels, and I'm going to be putting out an article in the next few days about this very subject, Jaden Daniels and him taking that next step, right? And I really do believe that that's the least of LSU's worries in 2023 is whether Jaden Daniels can take that next step and throw 45 touchdowns this next season. That's not going to happen, and that's not what we want anyway. I guess that is what we want. Yeah, we would love to see Daniels throw 45 touchdowns, sure. That might not be what it takes to win us games, though, this next season. I think what it's going to take is for Daniels, he's going to have to throw a lot more touchdowns. He's going to have to throw a lot more big shots down the field. He's going to have to trust his receivers a lot more. He's going to have to hit these open routes. He's going to have the timing. He's going to have the poise in the pocket to take the hits and not to bail out for LSU to really beat these teams this next season and not always be down these 10, 13-point deficits, which, as you saw, wore our defense down by season's end criminally bad. You can't blame our defense for those huge blowouts against A&M and against Georgia because it was our offense, our special teams, putting them in terrible positions the entire length of the season, and they bailed us out game after game after game after game. Something's got to give at some point. And, that's when it happened. Same thing at Tennessee, Tennessee was our defense being terrible against the run, really. And we could not cover Jabari Smart as well. So, that's just what goes down. Or, sorry, Jalen Hyatt. We could not stop Jalen Hyatt. Who could? Who could stop Jalen Hyatt? But really, this is an LSU team that if we clean up the special teams errors, which I gotta say, the kicking game scares the shit out of me. I don't know if you guys really were paying attention to the kicking during the spring game. I don't know how much footage you guys have watched of the kickers from spring practices, but I had many opportunities to watch kicks this last spring, actually, because they were doing a bunch of kicks right when there was actually a part of the fence that was removed, I guess, so someone could enter. And I was able to watch LSU special teams practice for like a half hour, just booting kicks. And my God, we need some help there. We need some help there. Not talking about touchbacks and kickoffs. I'm talking about or punts. We're fine there. I mean, hell, we might even put Jay Bramblett at kicker and be better right now, to be honest, than what we were going with, because Damian Ramos, he has shown he has the clutch ability in games. That kick against Florida, are you kidding me? That kick against Florida was absolutely huge, clutch. But right now, he's looked absolutely wayward. I mean, that's just the thing. It's just scaring me a little bit. Is the LSU special teams? It's not even so much the fumbles and all the craziness that we saw last year. We're having that drilled in the head. John Jancic is drilling that in the guy's head right now. We cannot do that again this season. We do that again this season, we're done for. I mean, it doesn't matter because we're already hunted. We're not coming up on anyone's surprise. We're not really going to be anybody's, like, oh my God, I didn't see LSU going to be such a great team this year. I didn't see that coming. Everyone is going to give us our best. Give us their best. And so it's you hand a team 17 points with a running back like Quinshon Judkins, and then say you suffer some injuries to your interior defensive linemen, to your linebackers, forget about it. Because it all depends on what we don't know right now. Really. The success, yes, Sage, the success or failure for LSU in 2023 does depend on LSU's young guys. Really, I'm just going to say, like, they've got to come in for 5 reps here, 5 snaps there, a snap there, a big 3rd down and 7 pressure situation here or there from one of the freshmen. Deshaun Womack coming in on defensive end, making a big pressure, making a big sack, making a big forced fumble, pass breakup. Quincy Wiggins proving what he can do. There's a lot of guys who are in their 2nd year who feel like they're true freshmen almost. Like Quincy Wiggins feels like that because he hasn't been given a shot, really. Tyjee Hill feels like that. Jordan Allen feels like that. Even though Jordan Allen, I think, he had 2 tackles for loss last year in very limited time. Impressive plays in the backfield that he had. And he had another tackle for loss in the spring game that was brilliant. Shows that he can really have a nose to get in the backfield. There's just a lot of guys across this team, defense, offense, where it's like true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores as well. Those 1- and 2-year guys who I just feel like so many of those guys could be huge for us this season. Transfers as well included in that. A lot of the transfers are young guys. Denver Harris, 1 season at Texas A&M. Boom, he's gone. Mekhi Wingo was 1 season at Missouri last year before he, boom, took off here at LSU. So LSU's got a lot of young guys on this team. This is a young roster in comparison to last year. Last year, you had old Methuselahs like Jaray Jenkins, and Micah Baskerville. You had even B.J. Ojolari, Jay Ward had clocked the snaps, especially Jay Ward. You had Todd Harris. You had a bunch of 2019 guys on last year's team. a bunch of 2019 guys, which is crazy when you think about it. It's 2023, and you still had a ton. We're having a little background soundtrack here by Sage's toy. You still had a ton of 2019 guys. And I don't know what's going to come of this team without that leadership, without that experience, without that age difference. Is that going to kill LSU's chances to get back to Atlanta? Not having that experience, not having that know-how. God, he's got so many things that make these ridiculous noises. Boom. So many noises of We're back. I just think that, with 99 days to go for the season, there's some worries at LSU. There's some worries in the roster. There's some questions. I don't think there's any questions about the staff, the coaching. I really don't think LSU are going to have a problem there. And I think that's really what's going to help LSU the most this season. There was a lot of player coaches last season, a lot of guys who could lead on the sidelines because of that experience that we had, like we were just talking about. But I think this season we're going to see the coaches and the coaching staff that Brian Kelly's put together since his arrival, and a few new guys coming in, Jimmy Lindsey, especially on the defensive line. You're going to see a lot of guys have to coach the best seasons of their career, really, to put LSU back in Atlanta, because there's a lot of new guys on this team who are going to need to lean on and have coaches who are willing to elevate them in these moments, in these crazy moments against the best competition. LSU are going to get the best competition week in, week out. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be an unbelievable season in 2023. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be following it every step of the way, and we're going to get him like a permanent nanny so we can do this, because he is just a madman trying to do these things. And we've been very lucky. We haven't really had to have some of these interrupted with his crazy presence too much. It's only been a few times, but thank you for your patience with him and with us for that. And my mouth is just about to kill me for doing this for this long, and so I gotta shut it down. But seriously, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for watching this if you're watching it later. Thank you so much for checking it out. Sorry about the crazy little madman that I'm having to put out the fires from. He's been a lot better behaved than he has before in the past, though. Hit that like, that subscribe button, and retweet for us all over Twitter. Share on Facebook. If you like this, if you like it, for sure do that. It really helps us big time. We could use all the help we can get, all the support we can get. And we're always good to our people. We're always good to our people. And thank you so much for joining us. And it's been an awesome day. LSU, a lot to play for in 2023. I'm telling you, there's big goals for this team. There's big possibilities for this team. There's all on the table. All the marbles are on the table. This is not a team that is going to be sitting on the sidelines. I don't think this is a team that's going to be regressing in 2023. I think it would be an absolute shocker for that to happen. And really, for it to happen, two things will have to happen. One, there has to be a complete breakdown between staff and the players. And two, there's just got to be a ton of injuries. All the guys that we're waiting for to come back just are going to have catastrophic relapses to their injuries. That's really what it would take for LSU, in my opinion, to not make it back to Atlanta and to have a bad season, a regression in year 2 under Brian Kelly. It would take injuries. And I'm telling you right now, LSU are looking good. We're trending constantly in the positive direction when it comes to the health of the roster. And baby, that is all we need. I really think that is all we need to win a championship in 2023. 99 days. 99 days and counting. "99 days, Sage, 99 days." "99 days, Sage, 99 days." Have a good one, everybody. This thing is taking forever to turn off. So in the meanwhile,